The dictionary defines empathy as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, or the ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. My name is Soli Philander, and welcome to this delight of sharing with you information about one of my favorite human instincts, empathy. The ability and the capacity to feel for others. I think it's stating the obvious, really, not that the obvious doesn't need stating, but at the forefront of the battle for human existence currently that is going on right now, the quality of that existence, the alleviation of burden, the sharing of resources, the common good. All these things are facilitated and in meaning by the power of empathy. It's my true belief. We are poised again at that place in humanity. Quo vadis, where to now, humanity? And I believe that it's here that we need to be guided by empathy. Empathy is also the name of a short film that sets to revolutionize the way the world approaches the idea of a bone marrow registry, and then revolutionizing awareness and support around that registry. And here to talk about that is my good friend and activist, father, and just extraordinary human being who, in my opinion, lives the idea behind empathy. Chris, I know you sit there with your heart full, you are excited, you understand the importance of this, how readily this can change the world. This is poised at a time in the world right now where we're looking for responses. We're looking for ways to say, how do we live now? And here, it feels to me, is an answer to you. Talk to me about how, why, what, empathy, how is this here now?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually asked myself that question several times. I don't really know where this empathetic nature of mine comes from, but my late mother used to say that even when I was very, very young, I used to always care for animals and people and little ones and all of that. So maybe it was just an instilled thing. I don't think it is something that is actually taught anywhere. It's just something that is basically your character. But then going through life and suffering at the hands of bullies and all of that kind of nonsense that's in life, you don't really think that anyone else there shares your sentiment. And then by surprise, you actually meet people, wonderful people in your life eventually, and it ends up and it results into something like this, the culmination of all these things.
But it's even more extraordinary for you, though, Chris, specifically, and I'm glad that I have this insight, because the idea of empathy, this idea that you feel for someone else and that you can imagine what someone else is feeling. Of course, we want to engender that. But the important understanding of that isn't that you do something about it. Isn't that the best answer? Because the truth here is, Chris, we are talking about your sons. We're talking about your son coming to you and saying, hey, guy, this speaks to me. I want to do something here.
Yes, that's quite right. I mean, I've got most awesome children in my life. And these two boys, Nikolai, that you see there on the left, he is an actor. His younger brother is actually not the person, and he's the lead role in this film, obviously under guidance. And he comes with his crazy BMX skills. And then he comes to me and he decides to open up his heart and he wants to do something for humanity. So it really touched me. It really did.
I want to jump straight in with this, Oliver, because in essence, when we were talking before, you said such a beautiful thing to me, because I asked you, I said, why Why this? Why bone marrow? Why? And you said, what did you say when I asked you? What did you say?
Well, I love seeing people smile and helping people. And I grew up in a loving house and caring home. And I like people seeing smile. And I wanted to collaborate with the bone marrow donation. And I thought, how can I combine my sport BMX and helping people? Then Chris came up with this amazing idea using the bone marrow donation. And I didn't know how to combine these two, but in the end, it all worked out perfectly, and I'm happy about it.
I think for me, the thing is, and the point that I really want to make about this, and you're welcome to come in on this, Nikolai. The point that I really want to make about this is that beyond the sense of having that empathy of recognizing what a situation is for somebody else, certainly what one picks up, and I picked this up from Chris. He's my friend, and I've worked with him as a colleague on stuff. And what I pick up from him is this idea that that's who he is. He is an active empath. It's not just sitting over here going, oh, isn't it terrible? He's an active. He's out there doing something, whatever it is, whether you think right or wrongly, yes, that's the thing to do. His instinct is actually do something. Isn't that right?
No, definitely. Now I see, well, Chris is our godfather, so we see him as our role model. And Chris's passion, Chris's passion in this life is to help people and to just bring the world forward. And obviously, we see that as a role model. Now, Chris is a completely like a different generation than we are. And I mean, now I consider BMXing, well, it's rather for the younger generation, but Chris's outlook on life doesn't only speak for, the older generation or the younger generation, but it speaks for everyone. So that's why I think combining BMXing and Chris's idea with the bone marrow donation is a perfect combination, because it's something unique and that speaks to everyone. So I thought, I just got the vibe from him, those two collaborating, and the product that came out at the end is great. And I thought it was a nice, unique idea to combine and get the message out there to everyone.
And the thing is,
go.
No, go for it. It's fine.
Now, well, I was going to say that for me, the fascinating thing about it is that, and I was looking last night at a TED talk I had about 8 years ago, and the topic of what they asked me, they said, speak about anything, and I said, and I chose as the topic, I want to speak about what my children taught me. And in some ways, what I understand this also to be is Chris's life speaking back to him. That it literally is. That something like this, you coming to him like this, going, Chris, I care about this. What can we do? Let's come. That kind of instinct, and his instinct to go, I don't want to tell you what to do. Let's work out something. Let's combine our passions here. That's what we need in the world right now. That's how the generations need to be answering each other right now.
That is so true.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Chris is such an open person that whatever topic or whatever you come with, what topic you come to Chris, he'll listen and he will make use of the idea to, produce something that will again bring everyone forward and that will bring everyone a message. It doesn't matter to be positive, to just, to look bright into the future. And I think that's what they did with this project.
And it was definitely a success. Definitely.
Beautiful. I was about to exactly say that same thing, that in this, why I'm specifically talking more about Chris as a person is because I think the work Chris speaks for itself. It is beautiful. It's such beautiful work, and the dynamic in the movie and the sense of the things that come through in the feel. What I really love about it. You manage. There is nothing. It's really difficult to think that it's a movie because it is so uncontrived. It goes so with your heart that you kind of go, no, it's a movie. They're acting this and there's cameras and I love that about it. But for me, that is and that was going to lead to my next question, which is then you have to get a crew. You have to decide on people that you're going to work with. And I wanted, how did you come across Thando?
Soli, can you backtrack a bit because the screen's froze now? Just go back
Okay,
for
so
like just like
I'm going to ask the whole
2
question.
minutes.
I'm going to ask the whole question. So that's so interesting for me, Chris, because I know that about you. I know I didn't really want to focus about you in the industry, because that's your capacity. You understand nuance. The movie is beautiful. It says so many things on so many levels. The humanity of it, it's so real. It's like you kind of think, no, you must remember, this is a movie. It seems so real, and the feeling is so good, and the skill of movie making is so lovely. And then I wanted to ask, how did you come across Thando? How did you arrive at Thando to be the person kind of behind the technical aspect of it?
Very interesting, actually. Thando did a project for a lady whose son I've got a good friend, Damien Houtel, and he actually recommended Thando. Damien is actually also a partner of mine and other friends of mine in the software company. And he actually pointed me to Thando, and we sat down. And I like to tell people that I wasn't even finished with my question before Thando actually said yes. He didn't even he wasn't even waiting for the final question. He just said yes, I'm in. So it just shows you that there is other people out there that also got the kind heart.
It leads me kind of, and it's a question that I really want to ask you, Thando. It really leads me to this question, which is that I have a belief. I have this belief about life. I believe yesterday we had this discussion. I was outside of court. We were doing a whole thing with the community here, and finding a safe space for sharing for the community, to have each other's back. And in one of those moments of us discussing, there was such a strong sense of that in spirit and in faith and in those things that we seldom talk about because we get a little awkward and embarrassed about. But the concepts behind those things, those of take care of one another, be there for one another, it becomes a flow. It becomes a flow, and things start to fall into place. The right people come, the right situations come, and the right energy come. And that's why I want to ask you this question. Here comes these people, and they are passionate. They're full of this. And here comes this man. He starts telling you about this really crucially important thing that you immediately in your heart feel, I want to do this. This is fantastic. This is the kind of work that matters. Talk to me about the pressure of that. Just the pressure of here come people with this really huge thing, and I'm now in charge of it.
Oh, yeah, the pressure was there, definitely, and it's still there, as I said before. But when the project came, it just felt right. It just felt like something that I need to do, something that I need to be part of it, because it's something that can change someone's life out there. Not just me as a director, one of mine said, trying to tell people what to do or not. But when you're watching the film, you're not thinking about all that process. You're thinking about the message that you want to send to people. And when the people get that message, that was the most important thing for me, is to get that message out there so that people can understand what we're about and why we decided to do this project. So when Chris came to me, he sent me the script first, then I read the script, then we had a meeting. In that meeting, I knew that I wanted to be part of this. I was just sure that I want to be part of this because it's something that can change so many people's life and also can change the way we perceive things. I wasn't aware of the bone marrow at all, but after I read the script and after the script was so interesting because it came on a very different way, like using a bike into this kind of topic or style. It was quite interesting. How do we combine these two things together? So that's where I was like, you know what, I want to be part of this and I want to give my best in this. So yeah, I'm still here. We're still running the race.
I must say, I must tell you that I loved how you use the metaphors in the thing. It's in the movie because there are some obvious metaphors that one could have gone for, but the ones they're almost like these beautiful outspoken moments when it's like a fast response. I don't know why I'm saying it, but I really had that response when watching the movie, that it essentially said what this was. It was a fast response that just went all over, affected everything. It was like covering the screen, this fast response. This young person, this energy moving into this thing and affecting it, and then these pensive moments of just kind of, what does this mean? What does this mean? You balance that so beautifully. It's so beautiful, the work. It really, really is. You did a great job. I really did.
I would like to say that Thando volunteered his whole team on behalf of them. They didn't even have it. They didn't even have, they didn't even have a choice. He just volunteered his whole team.
I think actually when you immediately jump to Nadia on this one, because Nadia, actually, what this is an incredible movie. I mean, I think when people watch the movie, they're gonna see, oh yeah, you know why did nobody ever think of this? But actually, this is it's like a watershed moment. The size of this audience you're talking about, the size of the reach of this, and what that accomplishes is actually quite extraordinary. You must be a little bit sort of like, I know I would be.
Certainly, but the South African Bone Marrow Registry is super excited to collaborate. And what makes this more beautiful is it really speaks to the journey of all the stakeholders. Whether it's an excited cast and crew and a director, the donor that eventually donates, the parents affected as they have a patient in their midst who's a son or daughter, everybody has a unique experience in this whole process. And I think this movie captures it beautifully. It's deep, it's thoughtful, it's sensitive to the issues at hand, but it inspires and it gives hope. And that is in the end what we're trying to achieve is that we want to say there is hope. There is a possible second chance and opportunity at life. And I think that is what really comes through in this movie for us. And we can't wait to put this out on our social media platforms to make this available to our donors, to the patients we've served, to the potential donors out there, which is what we hope to achieve, obviously, is to show how relatable this is in South Africa. And, as we discuss this further, how easy it is actually to become a part of this journey. So,
yes.
Great
the fact
stuff.
That it's young people.
Exactly. They're the most difficult to sign up. And it goes to show a young, not only talented cast and crew, but an individual who's passionate about sport can sign up. An individual can bring their own passion into this journey and involve other individuals in an incredible way, simply by an inspiring message. I think this is such a relatable project. We're super excited.
It's more than you want, but it is so incredible. And I want to jump straight to Oliver. And I want to say, Oliver, house bells. For me, also, just as a person, just when I watch the movie and you see the size of the exposure, and literally what you are doing here is you are representing a whole generation. Literally, I mean, that is the truth about it. When my mother had an LP, her grandmother thought, oh my word, what is going on here? When I got my first CD, my mother thought, oh my word. But actually, you are talking about it's something that you can do. BMX biking, you can do that as a career, as an existence. It's a passion that you can follow and make your life. And you can do that and contribute majorly to the world, to existence. You can just, and for a young person, I'm just going to say it. For a young person right now to be doing that without any kind of around it, just that focus on, this is my passion, and this is how I'm going to take a difference. I want to know from you what brings you there, because that is, I believe, what generations across the world, your generation across the world, needs that attitude right now. What is the quality of person I am, and how do I want my world to be? What brings you there?
Helping people has always been a big thing in my life, and I just thought BMXing is my passion, but how can I help people with BMXing, and how can I combine these two? And it all just went so well, working with the whole team, and we definitely all learned something about this and doing something good.
I need to ask him because I don't know. I suddenly just realized I don't know. The little boy in the movie, is he the actual little boy?
Yes,
he's an actor. He's Nandi's son. You know, the mother. Unfortunately, the mother has got they've got some family issues, so they cannot attend this meeting, but or this interview. So I do actually want to do a shout out for Nandi, and I'm hoping everything is well at home. But it is her son, Abulele, that is acting in the scene. Yeah.
The gorgeous little boy. A gorgeous little boy
very.
in the no competition for looks there, Oliver. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to say. No competition. You're struggling. but really, what I mean in all of this is, and I really want to make this point. I know that both you and Nikolai know that if any dream that you have, anything, any instinct that you might want to have about how can I make a difference and what do I go about doing this, that you almost instinctively know that you can go to Chris, because this is Chris. What you're doing right now is Chris. This is his life. He's about empowering people. He's about follow your dream. He's about make a difference. He's about make it better for everybody. And you are being his dream right now. Tell me I am wrong.
No, definitely not. And there's this thing in German which actually defines empathy. I'll just read it in German quickly. It says, mit den Augen des anderen zu sehen, mit den Ohren des anderen zu hören und mit den Herzen des anderen zu fühlen. So what it does, I'll just directly translate it. It means like...
I couldn't agree with him more.
Sorry?
I couldn't agree with him more. It's to be able to see somebody else's
what it means actually is,
and feel with somebody else's heart.
Yeah, no, definitely. So this is what defines Chris, because like Chris looks out for everyone else before he looks out for himself. I mean, that's the thing, you know, like if you ask something, like if you ask Chris for something, he'll really, you know, get into your emotion, feel for you. He will listen to you with all his heart, you know. He will open his heart and like share his heart with you. And this is what empathy is like defined as. So I think that, I mean, Chris chose this name for this movie, and it couldn't be more like it couldn't be more perfect. And especially it defines Chris as well, because that's what he does. He stands up for other people, he feels for other people, he wants to bring the world forward. So now hopefully this answers your question.
It does indeed, because that is indeed what you do, Chris. It is what you do. And I think I want to make this point. This is your reward from life. This is for all the times when you helped and got no thank you, for all the times you lost money that you put in and you never saw anything come back, for all the times you believed in people and then they proved you wrong that time. This is for all those times.
I have to tell you that with kids like this in my life, I feel like the richest person in the world. There's actually nothing that compared to that. And I wouldn't change it for anything. Nothing.
I think you might very well be. Thando, I want to ask you this. So now how does this work? Because also what I know about Chris is, you say, Chris, it's 2 o'clock in the morning already. Chris, it's 3 o'clock now. Chris, it's 4 o'clock now. Chris, once he gets into it, there is no such thing as time. Time? What do you mean time? What do you mean tired? What do you mean you haven't eaten? Eaten what?
Yeah, that is great. Chris will wake you up any time just to ask you a simple question. But
my thing with Chris is always, I'm like, have you stopped thinking about what that is? You know this thing that we're working on? Have you just for a moment gone like, well, don't think about, no, he can't. He doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to.
But we've got, yeah, but here's the thing. This is like the first, hopefully, this is the first of many of these projects. So definitely, I'm hoping that, I'm right.
I want to ask you about that, Chris. I want to ask you about that, but just before we get to that, because I really want to go out with that, I want to end our conversation with that, because I think that you're doing something here that is revolutionizing this whole idea of fundraising and support, and getting people to come up and volunteer what they can offer. So Nadia, I just wanted to ask you, because I think we are dealing with the response. We are in the world now. I mean, in a way, this is what you've been doing pre-corona, which is pay attention, behavior. We need to habitualize some things. We need you to come forward and volunteer to have a test. I wanted to just check on that, because you know there is that perception, and I think the movie clears that up very nicely as well. But I would really like for you to also state it. Some perceptions around what testing involves, how difficult it is, and how, because people grow the first time you say bone marrow, people go, oh, ooh, oh, what did you say, bone marrow? So just around that, and then the idea of what the implications of that is, because as I always say, people think it's just like, oh, like blood donation, which it is, but the difference, the stark difference is that you're a potential lifesaver. That's what you make yourself. Heroism, actually, you make yourself a potential hero by going for it to put yourself on the register. Is that not right? Help me here, because I'm as desperate as you are for everybody to have themselves tested immediately and get on the registry.
Exactly. I think the question isn't, would you do this for a stranger? The real question is, would a stranger one day step up and do this for you if you needed this? And that's very powerful. And the great news is, due to technological advancement, we've, as registries internationally, been able to make the sign-up procedure much easier. It's basically a health questionnaire that is submitted online. This is reviewed, and then individuals receive a cheek swab. So it's literally swabbing the inside of your mouth. As simple as that, to put you on the database. So with the South African Bone Marrow Registry, there's no cost involved at all to the donor. It's completely free of charge. We're asking for your time. And from there, you will stay on the registry until you're a match. And we will only start conditioning your body when you are a match. So an entirely different team that's completely dedicated to your well-being and your progress takes over the minute you become a match. There is a process of about 5 days of administering a drug called Nepogen, which is a growth factor. And this will release the peripheral cells into your bloodstream so that we are able to basically harvest it from your bloodstream, similar to a blood donation. It is a lengthy procedure. It's about 4 to 6 hours, possibly 1 and 2 days. It depends on the cell count we have. But really what we're asking is your time. And as youngsters, on your BMX, Nikolai could say easily, how many hours do you spend practicing, going out with your friends, going to see a movie? Why not use those 4 to 6 hours and try and save somebody's life? Try and give a young child an opportunity to one day go to school, to go to varsity, to get married, to have a beautiful life ahead of them. It's just a few hours of your time.
That's beautiful. I think, I couldn't agree more. I think it's and I think people need to understand, Chris, that really you're being asked to make yourself a potential superhero, and all that requires is a swab on the inside of your cheek and a questionnaire, and you are potentially a superhero. If you are called, if there is a match, now here's what I think people need to understand: if you're a match, it's a miracle. That's the first thing about it. You match, that's the start of the miracle. It's when you match. And then it's a journey. It's a miraculous journey after that. And you get to be, I don't know how else to put it, you just get to be a superhero. You just get to save someone's life. It's plain and simple as that. Someone, the prediction was sure death, and you get to save someone's life. Who doesn't want to? So I wanted to ask you, Ali, about that. What was the mood when you went in amongst your guys there, the BMX crowd, the youngsters? That if I had to go and talk to them, I'd be nervous because I'd like, how do I sound cool and what do I say? And everyone will go like, "Grandpa, go home." I how amongst them, because I really want to get that sense, because I know my own children and their own vibe towards things is very different from mine. My kids will be like, you'd say, "You really have to do this," and they'd be like, "Chill, I know." Do you know what I mean? You're reaching way too far over. They already know, I know. Yeah, care about other people. I know. I'm sorry if I'm not sounding like you care. This is what I sound like. So, but what is the mood then? When you went in there and going, "Guys, it's about this. It's about this." What was the feeling? What was your response you were getting from your followers and from the people that engages in the sport like you do?
Well, definitely doing something good for a different person I don't know, and the mood between my friends and the mood from me, it was just amazing working with each and everyone, because everyone was in the same vibe and was positive about the situation. And I don't know, we all worked so lovely together. It was just amazing working with everybody, like I said before.
But I love
And
that vibe.
everybody,
No, I was just going to
sorry?
say I really love the vibe. Even when you guys come into the room, I don't know how else to put it. Nikolai, you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean because you act and you do modeling and all that stuff. But it's like you know how you can set a situation and then it can just look contrived. Do you know what I mean? This is like think, okay, the
Well,
idea was nice, but and what I really loved about how that was shot in the room, presumably in the hospital room or the bedroom of the when everybody comes in with all the credit. Oh, it was just so the realness of it. I just felt like I knew everyone in that room. I felt like I knew all the youngsters.
well,
That's tough.
I mean, I wasn't on set on that day, but the vibe, what I got from it and what they told me is that everyone, they had the same mindset. They were positive, and that's the thing
Yeah.
about acting. You can act and then it looks acted, or you act something and you're natural, and then the message is natural as well. And
Real. Yeah.
for those people, I mean, number one, they were excited about the project. As I said, they were positive and they were all doing it for the same purpose, to help people, and
Right.
if you have that vibe on a set, it already, they don't need to act, they just need to be themselves. And they will like bring over the message automatically. And I think the fact that Chris introduced this topic, so good, and like really explaining the purpose of it, is which made everyone pull on the same thing.
No, it's a great thing, Chris. I really, really do. I'm your friend, and I'm very honest with you. I don't jam your mouth. I don't believe in it. I'm so proud of you, man. I'm just so proud of you. I think I'm just proudest of the idea that, because I feel like that in my life, the idea that when your work and what you believe and what you put out and just extraordinary, Chris. This is. I'm so proud of you. This is you. This whole that you named this movie. This is you. This is who you are. And I think it's extraordinary when in life when it happens like that. When everything merges, your belief and your love and what you put out all comes back to you and everything gets into the flow and your life feels on purpose. And this I am your friend. You are my friend. I don't beat around the bush with you. This feels like your life on purpose. I'm done with speaking about this. I'm so done with speaking about this. I think this movie should speak for itself. Before it does, I would just, in case I missed anything, final thoughts. Thando, I'm going to start with you. Any final thoughts on this, please, sir?
Okay. I think we mentioned everything that we supposed to talk about, but I just want this. I wish this movie can just go out there and not just as a movie, but as a message of change, as a message that can make it, even everyone who's watching it to have like a different way of looking into things, and also to educate themselves about things that affect us. Like, because this thing really matters, but it's just that we aren't aware of it. But after watching this movie, I wish people can watch it and also make a self-reflection after watching the movie, asking themselves what are they gonna do to make it different? What can they do to impact others? What can they do to be in charge, like to be part of this bone marrow or whatever that can save somebody's life out there. So I want people when they are watching to have that in mind. Like after watching the movie, what is it that have you take from it? What is it that you're gonna do? What is the difference that you're gonna make after you watch the movie? So I wish the message that we're trying to send to people is gonna be heard, and also is gonna be
Excited.
put into practical. Because if we just take the message and we're not putting it into practical anything, then the message that we are sending it's gonna be in vain. So, but if people watch this movie and go out there and make a difference, so that's what I wish this movie can do.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Thando. So great to talk to you about this. Thank you for your service. Nadia, I'm going to come to you. What's the dream here, Nadia? What's the dream now? This is lovely. No one's going to argue that the positioning of this, even in the pandemic now, is perfect. It really is. Just to bring a little bit of awareness, a little bit of humanity to the front, awareness of that. What's the dream now for you? What's the beautiful situation that happens now?
I firmly believe that we can all be part of someone else's tomorrow in whichever way you contribute. So whether you're sharing this message and this movie, whether you're signing up as a donor, whether you come up with the sequel to this movie, each and every one of us can be part of somebody's tomorrow. It's as easy as giving some of your time and as sharing your inspiration with others and sharing what you're passionate about. And I can only thank the team again for highlighting this urgent call to all South Africans and people across the globe, how desperate we are and in terms of needing more donors to sign up. We really need to grow our registry to make it as diverse as possible. And I think movies like Empathy sets the scene for this. So certainly, let's be, someone's tomorrow. I think that for me, that's the dream, is that we are 50, 60, almost 60 million people in South Africa. We can all play a part here.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Nadia, so much. And thank you also for your service. Boys, I want to say to you, I couldn't love you more. And let me tell you why. For how you are making your godfather feel. I couldn't love you more. I cannot, I tell you, I feel it here in my heart how he's feeling. But I also want to say, you do us proud, man. What is it that you would want to say before we close?
Well, first of all, I want to thank my team, my friends, my family for this great movie. And I want to thank each and everyone for everything. And a big thanks for exposing my sport BMX and combining it with such a great idea. And I'm really looking forward. I'm really excited to see where it's going with this movie. And I can't believe today's the day where this movie is going to be released.
Nikolai?
From my side, I just want to say, I think it's also just a very unique idea. I mean, it's the first time I'm hearing it where it's like a adrenaline sport, like BMXing is combined with such a thing, like bone marrow donation. And I think it's something unique, which is really interesting, which is new to this world. And it's a new way that we're starting. So I'm very positive about it. Also excited to see where you're going with this.
No, fantastic job, both of you. Ollie, great. I think you're the brother with the looks, but we're not gonna debate it. I'm not debating it. I'm not debating it. I've called it, Chris. My friend. Tell me.
First of all, I want to actually say thank you to everybody. Thando, you and your team were absolutely remarkable. Ollie, you and all the cast, you were just like magnificent. Nandi, in her absence, what a wonderful woman, what a wonderful boy. I mean, we had such fun with Abu, who didn't want to lay still, but I mean, he was there. It was just amazing to see his energy. And I think all of the cast actually tapped a lot out of his energy because it was such a fun and joyful child. And then obviously, before I actually give you my closing statement, I want to actually say, everybody that's watching, you can go back down into the Facebook link, and then you will find another link to the YouTube channel. The movie will now be released after this interview. And then I will just close with the following words. Do not look at life with your mind, as this is where your memory is hosted. And everything we are taught in is living there. Rather use your heart, because we all have the desire to care for others. We do have that. Moving forward, we must find a way of doing things differently. And we must remember the lessons learned today. That is my message for everybody.
Thank you, Mr. de Villiers. That is really, really beautiful. You make sure you catch empathy. Really, my favorite instinct, second only to love. And you know what they say about empathy. It's another word for love.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much.